The road has been empty for 3 hours when the passenger door opens on its own. You did not stop. You did not slow down. The door simply swings wide into the black rushing air, and for one terrible second, the dome light flickers on and illuminates the seat beside you. There is an impression in the vinyl. The kind a person leaves after sitting for a long time. Still warm. You cannot look away from it. You cannot look back at the road. The trees on either side are close and dark, and the white center line is pulling you forward like a thread, and somewhere behind the seats, very quietly, something shifts its weight. You are going to find out what it is. You just do not know yet that finding out is the worst thing you can do. Marcus Donnelly had driven long-haul freight for 11 years, and the thing he trusted most in the world was his routine. Up at 2:30. Black coffee from the thermos his sister gave him 3 Christmases ago, the one with the dent in the side from that summer he dropped it on the lot outside the depot in Columbus. 45 minutes of pre-checks. Wheels rolling by 3:15, always. He lived out of that cab the way some men live out of a kitchen, everything in its place, everything worn smooth by use. A photo of his daughter taped to the visor. A rosary hanging from the mirror that he never touched for religion, only habit, the way you touch anything that has been there long enough to belong. He was not a man who startled easily. He was not a man who talked much about feelings. He was the kind of man who had driven through an ice storm outside Wheeling, West Virginia, and described it afterward as interesting. The run that night was straightforward. Bedroom furniture for a wholesaler in Western Virginia, a county road delivery out past Elkins, the kind of drop that brought him through 40 miles of mountain two-lane after the last gas station closed. He had done it twice before. He knew the road. He knew the gaps in cell service, knew the place where the guardrail disappeared on the left shoulder, knew the pull-off near the old Pentecostal church where he sometimes stopped to eat. The road has been empty for 3 hours when the passenger door opens on its own. You did not stop. You did not slow down. The door simply swings wide into the black rushing air, and for one terrible second, the dome light flickers on and illuminates the seat beside you. There is an impression in the vinyl. The kind a person leaves after sitting for a long time. Still warm. He did not stop there that night. His daughter's name was Lily. She was 7. She had started 2nd grade that September, and every Friday he called her and she told him one thing she had learned that week, just one, a rule they had made together. That detail is not incidental. That detail is everything. He was thinking about her call. She had explained tectonic plates to him in considerable detail when the truck's radio cut off. Not a fade. A cut. Like someone reaching past him and pressing a button. He glanced at the unit. All the indicator lights were still on. He switched to a different preset. Nothing. He turned the radio off manually and turned it back on. Silence where there should have been signal. He told himself it was the mountains. The first thing Marcus noticed was the shape at the tree line. Not a deer. A deer stood differently, weight forward, caught in the surprise of headlights. This shape was vertical. Still. Set back just far enough into the trees that the headlights only found the edge of it, a pale sliver at the boundary of the dark, present for one full second before the truck moved past. He checked his mirrors. Nothing. He told himself it was a road marker, a fence post, a piece of signage that had been knocked back into the brush. He believed this for approximately 4 minutes, which was how long it took to reach the soft shoulder where the rear tire went flat. He heard it before he felt it, a low shuddering in the wheel that climbed through the seat and into his hands, and he brought the truck down slowly, the way you do when you have done it before, hazards on, pulling as far right as the narrow shoulder allowed. He sat for a moment with the engine running and the hazards clicking their slow orange pulse in the dark. Outside was a particular kind of quiet. Not the quiet of late night on an empty road. Something thicker than that. A quiet with presence. He got out. He had the flashlight from the door pocket, the good one, and he put it on the rear tire and confirmed what he already knew. He had a spare. He had changed a flat alone on a mountain road before. This was not a problem. He was halfway through the change when he heard it. Movement in the tree line, 10 feet off the shoulder. Not wind. Not an animal's random passage through underbrush. Something moving with what felt like intent, stopping when he stopped, resuming when the sound of his work resumed. He straightened. Put the light into the trees. The beam went perhaps 15 feet into the dark before the trunk swallowed it. The shape he could not make out was not moving now. But it was there. He could feel it in the way you feel a room that someone else is standing in, even in complete darkness. He went back to the tire. He kept working. The second sound was different, a single impact against the far side of the truck. Not a branch. Not a rock shifted by the wind. A deliberate strike, low on the body, with a weight behind it that rang the metal. Marcus stood slowly. Walked around the front of the truck. The passenger side of the road was empty. He put the light along the shoulder in both directions. Nothing. He put it back into the trees. The beam caught something at the very limit of its reach, between 2 pines, and then the battery in the flashlight, a brand new battery, replaced 2 weeks ago, simply died. He stood in the dark and did not move and did not make a sound and was not ashamed of any of what he felt standing there. He got back in the cab. He had not finished changing the tire. He locked the doors. He killed the hazard lights, killed the running lights, and sat in absolute darkness with his hand on the rosary without knowing he had reached for it. Outside, the mountain road was a grade of black deeper than the sky above it. Something hit the driver's window. Not a hand. Not a fist. Something wrong about the weight of it, the height of it, the way the window flexed slightly in its seal. He did not look. He looked straight ahead at the darkness where the road should be. It hit the window again. 3 times. Slow and deliberate and patient, the way something hits when it knows you are in there and has decided that patience costs it nothing. He began to speak. Not words, exactly. Just the sounds his mouth made when there was nothing else left, his daughter's name, once, quiet enough that it felt like a thought rather than a sound. Then he reached for the ignition. The truck did not start. He tried again. The engine turned and found nothing. He tried a third time and sat with his hands pressed flat against his thighs and made himself breathe, and outside the window the sounds had stopped, and the silence that replaced them was worse than everything that had come before. He thought about Lily explaining tectonic plates. The way she always said one more thing at the end of the call, always, the real thing she had been working up to the whole conversation. The thing she actually wanted to tell him. He turned the key. The engine caught. He did not wait. He pulled onto the road on a flat tire, the rim grinding against the asphalt, and he drove. 5 miles an hour. Then 10. The truck shuddered and pulled left, and he held it straight. In the driver's side mirror, not the passenger side, never the passenger side, he watched the road behind him. For the first quarter mile, something moved at the tree line, keeping pace. A shape that was too tall and too pale and too still for what it was doing. Then the road curved and the trees fell back and it was gone. He drove 14 miles on a flat tire to a gas station that was closed but lit, and he sat in the parking lot under the fluorescent light until 4 in the morning, when a man in a pickup stopped to ask if he needed help. Marcus told him he had a flat tire. The man helped him change it. They did not talk much. When the man drove away, Marcus sat in his cab for another 20 minutes before he felt calm enough to trust his hands on the wheel. He called his daughter when he got home. It was too early, barely 6, but she answered the way she always answered, immediately, like she had been awake anyway. She told him she had learned something new. She wanted to tell him about it. He said, "Go ahead." There is a specific kind of fear that lives on roads like that one, roads that exist between places, roads that belong to the hours most people sleep through. We have been telling stories about those roads for as long as we have been telling stories at all. I think we keep telling them because they point at something true about the night. Not the darkness itself. Something that the darkness makes possible. A presence that does not announce itself until you are already too far from help to matter. The thing that stays with me about Marcus, about any of these people on those roads, is not what found them. It is the moment just before. The moment when everything was still ordinary. The rosary hanging from the mirror. The coffee in the thermos with the dent in the side. The ordinary weight of a life still intact. We carry our ordinary things into extraordinary dark. And sometimes the dark notices.